Welcome, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope all of you had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. It was nice to sit back, relax, and have some time with my daughters and my wife and family. So it was my father-in-law's 60 something birthday, maybe 70, I don't know. He wouldn't tell me, right? So, well, I hope you had a great weekend. So I took some time to really recharge and ready to dive into a productive week ahead. I can't believe it's already October coming tomorrow. So, I'm Jim Becker for all the people that do not know me, and today we're talking about one of the most important things you can do to set yourself up for success. And not just in business, but in life in general. And that's having a solid plan for your week. Now, as we're going through today's live stream, I want to hear from you. I really do. So if you're out there right now, especially if you're hearing me live, let me know where you're from. What country are you in? What city, what state are you in? What company are you at? Love to hear you and just know that other people can hear me out there in the world because I'm reaching out to you. So feel free to really drop in any questions or thoughts or comments that you have in the chat as we're moving along. And I'll be checking in periodically to answer any questions and to give you feedback if I can. The more interactive we make this, where we're both working together, as if we're both sitting in the same room together, the more we can get out of it, right? Each person. So don't be shy, right? Let's start by talking about why planning your week is really so crucial. I'm sure we can all really agree that the week can fly by before we know it. Monday turns into Friday, and in a heartbeat. And sometimes we look back and realize that we didn't really accomplish much as we really wanted to. And sometimes we really do. All right, Andrew, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hey, good to see you, bud. Like them no see. As we look back, we may have accomplished a whole bunch. Just looking at October starting tomorrow, looking back to the beginning of January, where did the time go? Did I really accomplish everything that I wanted to do? What about just last Monday? Did I accomplish a lot or didn't I accomplish much? That's where having a clear outline plan really comes in. It's like a roadmap for your week, helping you stay focused and organized. With a plan, you have clear intentions for what needs to get done, and you can prioritize your time and make sure the most important things, the tasks, are really getting the attention that they really deserve. Here's a simple but powerful truth. When you plan your week, you get more done. When you just react to whatever comes, what fire am I going to put out now? You're proactively moving forward with purpose when you have a plan versus being distracted by everything. Think about it. In this way, how often have you had days where you didn't plan and at the end of the day, you're wondering, where did all that time go? 8 hours is 480 minutes, right? Contrast that with the days when you had a plan and crossed off multiple tasks. You felt productive, didn't you? I know I do. And you ended the day with a sense of accomplishment. See, a plan gives your week structure. It creates a framework for how you're going to use your time, what you're going to focus on, and how you're going to hit those key goals. Whether they're personal or professional, or in combination of both. Busy versus proactive. Thank you, Randy. And that structure also keeps you from being overwhelmed, right, Randy? By too many options, right? I know for me, an overachiever, I put tons of options out there. When everything's planned, it's easier to say no. There's a lot of people I say no to. I'm like, no, I won't be doing that. See, these are distractions because you know exactly what's on your plate. Let me ask you all a question, especially for Randy and Andrew, right? How often do you plan your week in advance? On Fridays, I plan my week well in advance, right? And sometimes I have weeks planned out all the way to the end of the year. So drop a note in the comments down below and let me know so we can keep this interactive. And if you're already planning your week, did you already plan your week this whole week? Do you know what you're doing? Did you fill out all of that blank space on that calendar? Or be honest, be vulnerable here. Are you just flying by the seat of your pants? And that's just how you operate. And if right now is the moment that you just realize that, well, welcome aboard. That's called light. That's called interaction. Always. I used to not, right, live, but my calendar, now I can't live without it. Thanks, Randy. I can't live without my calendar either. It's embedded in my head, but it's right there for me to pay attention to what I'm doing next. And thank you so much, Randy, for really sharing that experience. I really appreciate it. See, now that we've covered why it's so important, let's talk about how to actually put a solid plan together for your week. I'm going to walk you through 3 strategies that I personally use, and I recommend each one of you to use these. Everyone will get something out of this. You don't have to use all of them. If you just use one of them, that's fine. But see which one really resonates with you internally. And I hope, each person can really streamline your own plan in your process. So number 1 is having a strategy. Some people don't have a strategy, but if you block your time, you're basically having a strategy. So when you're using this key of blocking your time, that's your strategy. It's very simple. You break your day into blocks of time. Dedicate specific tasks and activities that keeps you from multitasking, which, by the way, is often a productivity killer. It kills me every time when I'm multitasking because I'm trying to put my mind on like several different things. It's like my daughters, Sydney and Brooke. I try to have my time with both of them. Well, the productivity's killed. I'd rather spend time with one person for a half hour, Brooke, and then my time with Sydney for the other half hour. See, when you focus on one thing at a time, you'll find you get more done in less time, and that quality of time really improves. Imagine doing that with your customers and your fellow employees. So now let's say you block off time from 9 a.m. to 10:30, just looking back at what I did today. Was that strategic planning? Yes. Then from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., where we're at right now, welcome to my calendar, we might be looking at team discussions or maybe a live stream. You're not constantly switching your gears. Instead, you're dedicating uninterrupted time to your task at hand. How many of you out there watching use time blocking in your weekly planning? If you do, let me know in the comments. How is it working for you, Randy? Especially Randy. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I often only for my gym days. Yeah, of course. I went to the gym this morning also. And that keeps me accountable to do what I have to do in the other days. Now, seeing this video leads me to believe I should plan my off days more accordingly. Oh, Andrew, of course. This is where you get so excited about your days. It really helps out. So how many of you out there are watching use this, right? So as we go through this process in putting this forth, how's it working for you? All right, so let's get on to number 2. We have the 80-20 rule. This rule suggests that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. What does that mean for your weekly planning? If it means you need to identify the high impact tasks that will move the needle the most, then prioritize those. Here's a quick example. Let's say you're a business owner or a manager. You could spend hours organizing all those emails or filing the paperwork or putting those into the right files, but those tasks don't necessarily grow your business. You become an administrator. On the other hand, making a few strategic phone calls or closing a deal could yield significant returns. Now, couldn't it? Right? See, your plan should focus heavily on that 20%, the big tasks that will generate the most impact. Support, yeah, absolutely. Kendra, I hear you. Yeah, I love the flowers too. Thank you. I can smell them over here. However, still make time for those less impactful tasks. You can't forget about those, right? As well. While it's usually okay to push back once or twice, you don't want to let these smaller tasks turn into huge mountains. I've done that far too many times. Learn from my failures. I'm still doing those failures. So, when you sit down to plan your week, take a look at your to-do list. Ask yourself, which one of these tasks will make the biggest difference if I focus on them first? I usually take the biggest ones that are the hardest. That's where your energy should really go first. For those of you who are watching, if you have tried the 80-20 rule in your planning, if so, share that experience with us. And if you fail, share it. Just like planning the weekend, right? And really getting the best out of it for the weekend, it would be huge for you. It really will. See, what task have you found to be the most impactful? And finally, for that strategy number 3, I really want to talk about it's important to build some flexibility into your work week. Don't think of this as like straining you and putting you into one of those jackets that hold your arms like this. We all know that things don't always go according to plan. Meetings run over. Unexpected issues come up. There's a fire over here and there's a fire back there. And sometimes things just take longer than anticipated. If you schedule every minute of your week with no room for the unexpected, you're setting yourself up for failure and frustration. Not knowing that there's 186 hours in a week will be kind of like that failure that you hit. Not knowing that 8 hours, times 60 is 480 minutes, that's a failure that if you're not knowing about it, if you don't already know it's part of your canvas as you're creating your picture for the day, it can get frustrated. I hate getting frustrated. So instead, perfect everything. Leave some time to buffer between major tasks that could take 15 minutes here or there, or entirely block out a whole time of 15, 20 minutes, half hour, dedicated to catching up on everything or anything that kind of went off the tracks earlier in the week. Look at your to-do list from last week and see, what didn't I do last week? Are you just forgetting about that? Did you not have a to-do list? Can you see your failures? Do you not want to look at your failures? See, having that wiggle room gives you the flexibility to adjust without derailing the whole plan. Now, before we conclude, I really want you to see the need to cover more potential pitfalls. A lot of people don't talk about the pitfalls, they just fall into the pit. So what are the pitfalls of weekly planning? Because it's not all smooth sailing, it really isn't. I mean, if you've ever gone sailing, trust me, winds change and blah, 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 winds go away. Even the best laid plans can have their own challenges. One common pitfall is overscheduling. Like, hey, this is working great. I'm now using schedules. Thank you. This is awesome. I'm blocking my time. And then you overschedule. It's easy to be ambitious. Trust me. I know. And at the start of the week, think, can we do it all? Can I do all of this? But cramming too much into our schedules can really lead to burnout. Yeah. I used to call those the 2 martini nights, right? And I'd go home and my wife would make me some good martinis. And now almost 3 years, I haven't been drinking, which is great. No problem. It just frees me up a little bit more. And you'll notice you just can't get everything done. And you can't. And that's what life's all about. Our life is of service and realizing what you can and cannot do. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, so don't tell yourself you're a failure. You're not. You're amazing. You are amazing. And you're tuned in right now. You're listening to this either live or on a recording. And yeah, I'm talking to you. See, that's why it's important to be realistic about how long tasks will take. Planning. How long will this task really take? Have you ever really measured it? Use that timer. I use my timer on my Apple phone all the time. How much time will it take for me to really accomplish this in this day? Or do I need several days? If anything is overestimated, that time, I can use that time for something else. Planning, most likely. So understand the worst case scenario. It could take some more time. So you might want to over plan that time and get time back on and focus on something else. Another pitfall that I like talking about is becoming too rigid. I mentioned earlier about the importance of having structure. But being over structured really is strict with your schedule, and it can really backfire. Life is unpredictable. We all know this, right? And it's important to adapt when necessary. If you don't give yourself some grace to adjust, you might feel like you're falling and failing, falling, tripping and failing. I mean, really, get off that roller coaster. You just need to shift things around. That's all. That's all you have to do. It's real easy. Finally, some people fall into the trap of planning as a form of procrastination. It's great to have a plan, but if you're spending hours perfecting it and not actually executing on it, then the plan isn't really serving you, is it? It's definitely not serving its purpose. At some point, you've got to take action, and that pretty much wraps it all up. But before we sign off, I want to hear if you have any questions before I end here. So this is live, so you put your questions in now. And if not, then I'll just move on. And really, what sparked in you today? What did you hear while I was going live? And understand the people watching the recording will be able to see these comments and questions as well. Or if you have any specific challenge that you're dealing with right now in your weekly planning, especially being Monday, drop it in the chat. And I'll stick around for you just a little bit longer and answer any questions that I can possibly do for you. Now, let me review these questions. I see support, thank you. I see hello, I like that. I see often, always. Okay, we've already covered all these. And there's no comments. That's good. All right, I love it. So that's why I like taking these when they do pop up. And I made sure I had a display right here that I can actually look at and see what's going on there. So, all right, let's wrap this up with a quick review. Today, we talked about having a plan for your week. And it's so important to have that plan. And a plan really helps you stay focused, right? And productive and being intentional with your time. We went over the 3 strategies, right? We went over the 3 strategies for planning your week, right? Time blocking, we're using the 80-20 rule and to prioritize everything, and building the flexibility to adapt your life's curveballs or fires. We also covered some common pitfalls like scheduling and being too rigid, and how often do you avoid them, right? And of course, if you found this live stream helpful, please make sure you like, maybe share it, and follow me. Hit that little bell. Don't miss the future streams. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate your presence. It means a lot to me. And I hope you all have an incredible, productive week. Love you. Have a great week.